Welcome to the Game of Inches Sports News Channel. This is going to be our segment on NBA news for today. So, starting off, we have an article, Devin Booker and Jayson Tatum named NBA's Player of the Month. So, this is for each conference respectively. So, with that, DeMarcus, what do you think?
I mean, they both had some pretty strong months and like some pretty big games this past week as far as like performance-wise. So I definitely agree with that. And neither one of them is my pick for MVP, but I still like what they're doing this season for their team. Also, I feel like no disrespect to Chris Paul, but Devin Booker need a better running mate because Chris Paul is not what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent when it comes to playing games. Either he's out with some type of injury. Sorry, I'm dogging Chris Paul on Devin Booker's post, but get him a better running mate, or at least somebody else who could put up the numbers he does, and they'll be able to actually get the job done if they make it back to the NBA Finals. As far as Jayson Tatum goes, like Boston has a solid team. Am I going over my time? How much time I have left, Kevin? I forgot to put my say it again.
8 seconds. 7, 6.
Boston got a good team, but they're not going to win the East.
All right, Corey, what do you think?
I agree with Kevin. I think Devin Booker has
Marcus.
What did I say?
You call me Kevin.
Oh fuck, my bad. All right, DeMarcus. I agree with what DeMarcus is saying. Where Devin Booker, he's a fantastic player and he's doing great stuff for his team. He just needs another star on his team, or like a not Chris Paul level, but like, I don't know, a similar player to, not like the same position, but like a star player in a different position, so Devin Booker can work with him more. Because it's like you said, Chris Paul is always out with injuries. Compared to Jayson Tatum, who already has that strong team built around him. I don't think either one of them are also. Neither one of them are going to win the MVP, but I think at the very least one of them is going to the NBA Finals.
Possibly.
So Jayson Tatum is just having an incredible year all around. He has led the Boston Celtics to the best record in the whole NBA with 18 wins and 4 losses. So he is playing like an MVP. Devin Booker has upped his game since Chris Paul has been injured, and he is also playing like an MVP. He is pretty far down the rankings in the MVPs, so I think he's plus 3,500 right now. So any of you sports bettors out there, that might be one to look at, depending on how you think the rest of his season's going to go. Pretty decent odds with the way he's been playing. But yeah, I agree. I think that the Phoenix Suns definitely need a little bit more consistency in their lineup. Getting rid of Paul, maybe getting a wing player might be a good idea, because they do have Cameron Payne coming off the bench, who isn't necessarily a pure point guard, but he can make some plays happen. So I think that they do have some depth at point guard, and seeing if they can dish Paul for a wing that can be more effective at the deadline might make sense for them. So.
And that's if anybody want to pick up Chris Paul's contract. That's what make him untradeable, I believe. Also,
I don't know. I mean, like Chris Paul, he's old and his contract is pretty large. But if you're looking to add him to a contending team, I think a lot of people would bite on that.
No, they would, because he's not washed up. He could still get you points and assists, and like make plays for your team.
And one of the best defensive guards in the league.
Yeah, and
like if you added him to a team like the Denver Nuggets, that would be game changer. You could throw Murray at the 2 position, because he's a pretty good off-ball player too. So
yeah, it would make them title favorites also. But if I was Phoenix, I'd go and try to get Brandon Ingram from New Orleans.
Oh, that would, yeah, there you go. That's that wing player right there too.
Yeah, put a package together and just get Ingram. That's something they should look into.
Yeah, I think that would make a lot of sense for the Phoenix Suns.
Mm-hmm. And I think he'll fit in perfectly with them also.
And then the Celtics, as long as they keep doing what they're doing, they maybe have had like one injury the whole season if you don't include Robert Williams. So whatever they're doing, they are just doing everything right,
Just
including
gotta,
staying healthy.
yeah, when a game matters in the playoffs, they just gotta step it up. Because last year in the finals, to me, they look tired. Because I think like just to get to the finals, they had a few 7 game series. You know where the games, I mean the series went to 7 games,
They're in the death
and I feel
group,
like
Eastern Conference.
yeah, that's man tough. And I feel like they was exhausted when they made it to the finals. So
Yeah,
like
winning the
they
East
just
might
gotta,
be harder than winning the championship.
it is.
So, all right, that's our time for this article. Let's move on to the next one. So, with the next article, we're going to be talking about LaMelo Ball, and he is going to be returning from injury. He did return for 3 games before he got re-injured, but this should be his big debut and consistently play throughout the rest of the season. So, with that, Corey, what do you think?
Well, again, this is based off no basketball knowledge whatsoever, but I mean, it'll be definitely beneficial for the Hornets. I just don't know what else they can do to like get past from they went from shit to okay. Now they just need to get okay to good. And I
I
don't
like how you
know
put that.
like well, it's like LaMelo Ball can get them from shit to okay, but now will it be only him that'll get him to okay to good, or like what else? Like I just don't know what else Carolina or Charlotte needs. Like on
They
top of
need
having
better.
Lamelo Ball.
And
All right,
they're in the East also, right? They
Marcus,
still in
what
the
do you
East.
think?
Like they still in the East, right? Charlotte
Yeah,
Hornets.
Yes.
So
No, they
they
moved to
need a miracle.
they moved to California.
I mean, to move like you just said, Kevin, to win in the East is really tough. Even just to make it into the because now they got the play in, but like before they had the play in, teams used to go 41-41, which in the West is like always I'm thinking of the West. Like you could be 41-41, you could still miss the playoffs. When normally in the other conference you will make the playoffs. But like LaMelo is a good player. I think the Charlotte Hornets as a team is not really well constructed. Just because like even like some of the players' individual stats looks good on paper, but when they're out there playing together, it's just like some nights you can have they have highlights and they be doing good, and then other nights it's like everything just falls apart, and they rely on that young Melo to carry them to the win. So I
all
believe
right.
if they can
My
get like a
perspective
veteran player. Go ahead.
Right. My perspective on this is going to be the Hornets had a very promising year last year, but they ended up falling short, even with that being said, as a playoff team that didn't, or a play in team that didn't really make too much out of that opportunity. This year,
Mhm.
they brought back the same team, although they lost Miles Bridges in the offseason, and they just lost Gordon Hayward to a fractured shoulder. So you just lost 2 of your 3 best players on the team. So I would say Charlotte regresses this year in a big way. And I can already see this happening. Or now you got me saying it. LaMelo Ball um, has been frequently injured this year on and off. It seems like they're trying to rush him getting back on the court as soon as possible. So I wouldn't be surprised if he deals with injuries on and off all year. And I wouldn't be surprised if the Hornets management encourages this, as this would be a way for them to tank to get Wembanyama. And if you pair Wembanyama with LaMelo Ball, you are well on your way to becoming a outstanding team for the next 10, 20 years. So, what do you guys think?
I give them the next couple years that might be up there in the top of the conference. But I feel like they still need like a few more pieces to even be considered. Because even if they make the playoffs, that they're a first round exit at best.
I guess
So
my
maybe a
point is, I
veteran
think
that
they're going to try to tank. I think they might even be the worst team in the year or in the league this year because they're missing their 2 best players outside of LaMelo Ball, and LaMelo Ball's been
hmm
on and off with injuries. So if this continues, they might just find themselves competing with the San Antonio Spurs for the first pick next year.
I think the Rockets are near the bottom as well.
They are, but they have so many young players that it's like as the season progresses, they should start building chemistry and get more confident on an NBA floor. You got Jalen Green, you got Jabari Smith, you got Alperen Sengun, Kevin Porter Jr. is new to the system. You have a whole bunch of really good young talent. You just need to get them to work together. So as the season progresses, I would see the Houston Rockets performing better than they have to begin the season.
Yeah, Hornets might still be able to make the playoffs or the play in. So I don't feel like they'll get. Well, if you say they're going to tank, they might do tank. But
They
I don't
lost
know if
their two best
MJ. I
players
don't know if
outside of
MJ.
Ball.
MJ might not like that though. He a competitor. He ain't trying to have his team tank,
You just got to convince him he's competing for Wembanyama instead of playoff.
right?
And then they'll really win that. All right, so that's our time for this article. So let's move on to the next one. So with the next article, we're going to be talking about the Jalen Brunson leaving the Mavericks over the offseason, and the Mavericks have been struggling without him, trying to find some help on offense with scoring with Luka Doncic. So on games that Luka Doncic has scored under 30 points, they are 0-6. So this article is talking about how they just signed Kemba Walker. So it looks like that is going to be their attempt at the solution. So with that being said, DeMarcus, what do you think?
Kemba could come in and I would say get him maybe 15 points a game. I know that's a stretch, but I feel like that'd be a big help, especially coming off the bench, as well as putting in some solid work on the defensive end. Because I mean, you can't have Luka doing it all bad. Then they got Spencer Dinwiddie. I liked him when he was with the Nets. He's a good 3-point shooter. But you can't have Doncic doing it all by himself. And let's say they make the playoffs. This guy's going to be worn out by the playoffs. And they can get swept. And we seen that last year in the Western Conference Finals when they made it, and he was just worn out. But Kemba hasn't really had the past couple years. Hasn't been looking good for Kemba playing wise, stats. So if he could come in and be a solid contribution to the team, then that'd be a good sign, and hopefully it could help the Mavericks out in the long run.
All right, I'm going to hop in second this time. So Dallas Mavericks are a slow-paced team. So they have Luka Doncic as their main player, which means he's a slower player, and they don't run the break quite as much. So Kemba Walker is great in a half-court set. You can throw the ball to him with 5 to 10 seconds left on the shot clock, and he's able to take you off the dribble and create his own shot. So this is especially valuable in a team that likes to play in a half-court set because you end up running into a position where a lot of times you are running up against a shot clock, and you do need to get up a quick shot to be able to avoid actually expiring a shot clock into a violation. So I think Kemba Walker fits into the system pretty well. I think it's going to take some time for him to actually get comfortable in the system, but when he does, I think it's going to be a good fit. Whereas some of the other teams he's been playing on over the last couple of years have been a lot faster pace, and he's not really that fast break guard. He can do that, but his best quality is you can give him the ball, he'll take you off the dribble, and he'll get some points. And that fits well in a half-court offense like the Dallas Mavericks like to run. Yeah, I think if you got some really good rebounders on the team, because he can get buckets at the rim, but he's also the type that likes to play the mid-range pretty frequently.
Yeah, he's good at that mid range.
Yeah, I think
I
if
would
you
say
got
maybe
someone
Tim
that
Hardaway
rebounds
Jr.
effectively, that would be a big deal. Like a trade for an Andre Drummond on the Chicago Bulls would make sense,
Yeah, but
in my
they got
opinion.
JaVale McGee on the team too. The Mavericks.
Yeah, and he's all around. He does it all. Blocks, he rebounds, he
Yeah,
trips
so
over his feet and falls on his face. Anything you want.
right. Maybe get them to going in the pick and roll. That might be helpful.
Yeah,
Because
I
I feel
feel
like
like
they're gonna
JaVale's
have
not the best pick and roll. He's good at finishing
yeah,
at the rim, but he's not the best screen player. So
yeah, lob it up there to him. Because I'm pretty sure they're gonna have Kemba coming off the bench. I don't think they're just gonna put him in the starting lineup right away. He
yeah,
might be a
probably
bench
not.
player at best. Yeah,
So they'll have him running with Christian Wood. So I think that'll be interesting to see. Although
yeah, I
Christian
was
Wood
gonna say
isn't
him
really
too.
the type to run that pick and roll the best. I guess you could find better
hmm
players. That's the point I'm making.
Kristen Woods coming off the bench also.
Yeah,
Oh wow,
yeah, they're starting
he
Finney
making
Smith
14
and
million coming off the bench.
Howell.
I would have put him in the starting lineup. But yeah, well,
Corey, when you
since he
traded
coming off the bench,
him for Zion Williamson, I was like, no, don't do it.
yeah, he be doing pretty good though, Christian Wood. So
Yeah,
so has Zion though.
playing
And
well.
Zion got me like 60 points the other day.
Yeah, that's the difference. Is a bench player or Zion, who's having a great year. So.
Well, that's fitting, right?
Yeah.
I get like my first time doing an NBA draft, I get fleeced.
Yep. That's usually how it works.
Honestly though, that first
haven't
trade I
got
offered you, that was worse than that trade. Cause what I was gonna give him Aaron Gordon and like I think Cameron Payne for Zion.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
knew
that would have been worse.
Yeah, but yeah, that's Kemba Walker, I guess. Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing else.
Yeah, I think that would be a good place to wrap up our NBA news for the day. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope there's some great games to watch tonight. And we will catch you guys on the next episode of the Game of Inches Sports News.